Really, we're going to get there.
Welcome to Baking with Frank. Frank Rush was a baker at the turn of the 20th century at the Uffelman Baking Company in Cincinnati, and then at his own bakery in Newport, Kentucky. Frank was also my great-grandfather. Through his handwritten batch-sized recipe book, I'm breaking down his recipes and getting to know him better. I'm Tom Mattingly, and this is Baking with Frank.
Welcome back to Baking with Frank. So we got a little different view today because we're making something a little different. Today, we are tackling caramel pie. I've never had caramel pie. I'm very interested in what it's going to taste like, particularly because some of the ingredients aren't necessarily commonly available these days. Ish. Anyway, we are going to start out by baking our pie crust. Now, I just used the out of the box from the store pie crusts, which are baking down below us. Didn't bother sharing that with you because you can unroll a pie crust too. I'm confident you can do that. So we're letting those bake. We've got another minute on that, and then we'll get started on the rest of it. Okay, you can see the pie crust back there, straight out of the oven. I did, which I read somewhere, coat the bottom after it was baked for a little bit with some egg white to seal it or something. But anyway, here we go. Let me get my recipe out of the way here. All right, so caramel pie. Really, we're going to get there. All right, so into the pan. We've got to cook this. So we're making a custard effectively, I believe. All right, so into the pan. We are putting 1 large can of milk, not that. So 1 large can is a pre-1953 measurement. A large can then was 14.5 ounces. Our cans today are 12 ounces. So, Mattingly family heirloom right there. So we're putting in 1 plus 2.5 ounces of a can of milk. And because we don't waste in this household, the recipe also asks for 1 large can of water. That's where the rest of that milk went. Plus water. So it's going to be an extra creamy custard. All right, to that, you're adding 4 egg yolks, beaten, just like that. Let's get all that eggy goodness out of there. There we go. And 2 cups of brown sugar. This is light brown sugar because it's what we have in the house. I'm assuming you could equally use dark brown sugar. You do you on the brown sugar. Give that a little stir. I'm going to move the paper out of the way because we're going to get some heat going here. Now, I'm going to put this on low heat. And I don't think I've ever made a custard, at least in this manner, before. I may have at one point made an eggnog custard pie. I think we've made a custard pie. But I think those were much more pour it in and see how it goes. But anyway, we're going to let this do its thing here. And this is probably the least interesting thing you'll watch all day. Now, while we're doing this, wait, look at me. While we're doing this. So the recipe, of course, is classic Frank, right? Gives you the list of ingredients. This one actually has a little bit of instruction because the final ingredient is vanilla, which it says add last, let filling cool, and bake in pie crust. So I surmised from that this would be a cooked custard, which is what I'm doing now, and that we would then bake it again. I don't know if it's true. I don't really care if that's true at this point, because that's what we're doing. Let's go back to pie. Okay, we're getting up to temperature. I've traded over to my favorite spoon, which still has the burn mark. We will get to that later. Things I live with. But I'm going to add, per the recipe, 4 tablespoons of flour. All-purpose flour in this case because, yes, that. And I'm going to whisk it in just because it can get a little lumpy. And I'm guessing this will prevent the lumpy. Instead, it's getting a little foamy. I don't know if it's supposed to get foamy. I've never done this before. It's called the wisdom of our elders, what it's called. Wisdom of the elders. Okay, there's that. More stirring. And what I'm going for, although I don't know if it's right, is the custard sticking to the back of the spoon, because I'm sure on some TV program I saw that, because I'm sure I didn't read that somewhere. All right, saving battery. Okay, we are bubbling. We have reached that point where we're coating the back of the spoon. I'm going to turn that off. Keep stirring. Don't let it stick. And look how much that's thickened up. Kind of crazy. All right. We're going to take our, what's that thing called? Pie crust? Mercy. I got all excited about the caramel. And go back to the spatula, and we're going to fill this up right to the top. You'll see that in a second. Look at that. All right. Now, probably should have done this before, but thankfully we got a little residual heat from our baking of the, why am I bending down and talking to you? Look at me. From the residual heat from baking pie crust. So we're at 332, we want to be at 350. So it'll just be a hot second. And then we'll go in the oven for 30 to 35 minutes. All right? Get ready. Now, you know, while we're doing this, if you wanted to go hit the like and the follow and the explosion button, I'm sure that both I and Frank would be very grateful. So, it got hot. I'm hoping it's done. It's, I'm going to let it finish bubbling here in the oven before I try to move that, because 3rd-degree burns aren't on my calendar for today. Okay, so here we are, out of the oven, not bubbling, but I'm contemplating how long it takes lava to dry. Or is it magma? I don't know. Okay, back to our traditional setting here. Now, I'm gonna try to cut this and see how it goes. So it is not an extremely, I'm going to say firm pie. I'm certain it is very sugary. So I'm going for a little sliver out of the gate here. All right. Oh my gosh. The smell just hit me. It smells great. There we go. Oh, losing the crust. Not nearly as sweet as I thought it would be, which is a good thing. It's really delicious though. Messy to make. I'd put a pan under it next time. But we're gonna make this again. And I might put chocolate chips in it.